pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning. Welcome to our meeting this Tuesday, March 25th. We'll go ahead and start with a motion to approve the agenda, but first, if there's any public input on the agenda lineup itself, now would be the time to do that. All right, can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
Approve Otten.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Got a second from Commissioner Schmidt. Any discussion? If not, we call the roll, please.
Commissioner Aaron's?
Yes.
Otten?
Yes.
Schmidt?
Yes.
Putnam?
Yes.
Landine?
Yes. Next, we'll move on to approving our consent agenda items. Is there any public comment on the consent agenda? Okay, if not, can I get a motion, please?
Move for approval.
Got a motion? Is there a second?
Second Otten.
Motion and a second. We call the roll, please.
Commissioner Aaron's?
Yes.
Otten?
Yes.
Schmidt?
Yes.
Putnam?
Yes.
Landine?
Yes. Motion carries. Then we'll move on to our regular business. First item on our agenda is a public hearing to consider an application for a temporary on-sale malt beverage license to operate outside the municipality for Lennox Baseball and Softball Association, LBSA, for an event to occur on April 26, 2025, located at the Lincoln County Fairgrounds, 27711 Highway 17, Lennox, South Dakota, 57039, legally described as 34.12 acres in the northeast quarter, including railroad property, section 29, township 99 north, range 51 west of the 5th principal meridian, Lincoln County, South Dakota. Is there anything to be presented by staff for this? No. Applicant is here. Do you want to come up and tell us about your event? Sure. Thank you.
Talking to this. It's just a fundraising event for Ducks Unlimited is hosting their annual fundraiser. However, they're kind of short on staff and whatnot, so they also like to interact with their guests at the event. So they asked somebody to step up in the community and do their soda, alcohol sales, stuff like that, so they aren't taking people away from entertaining guests. So I'm the president of the Lennox Baseball and Softball Association, John Vandehoof, and they reached out to me, asked me if we would like to do that as a fundraising event. I said yes, we were interested, so I'm here today for that.
All right, great. Anybody on the board have questions for the applicant? All right, if not, any proponents for the application can come up now. All right, any opponents? All right, there being none, is there a motion to approve the application?
Motion to approve.
Thank
Madam
you.
Chair.
Is there a second?
Otten. Second.
We've got a motion and a second. Any discussion? If not, Alicia, we call the roll?
Commissioner Aaron's?
Yes.
Otten?
Yes.
Schmidt?
Yes.
Putnam?
Yes.
Landine?
Yes, motion carries. All right, next item is another public hearing pursuant to SDCL 72122 for the purpose of adopting the following supplements to the 2025 budget. Supplement adding to the debt service TIF number 8 budget for $204,000 for current taxes and principal payments. A supplement adding to the commission budget to fees and contracts in the amount of $150,000 per resolution 2412, dated 12/24/24, a supplement adding to the corner budget to fees and transports in the amount of $6,000 per resolution 24/12/18, dated 12/10/24, a supplement adding to other economic assistance budget in the amount of $67,393.75 per resolution 24/12/22, passed on 12/10/2024, a supplement adding to the sheriff's budget in the amount of $33,000 per resolution 24/12/15, passed on 12/10/24. Morning, Sherry.
Good morning, and if anybody needed a refresher of what those resolutions were, I have them on the overhead cam. Otherwise, are there any questions regarding the increases in the budgets.
Does the board have any questions?
Madam Chair.
Yep, go ahead.
Sherry, thank you this morning. Just a question I had is, on that document, it says the payments were not made in 2024.
Yep.
What does that refer to?
So for the opioid distribution, you had authorized them to be made in December of '24. It never got processed. So the budget authority then had went away for '24. So we needed to give you the budget authority again in '25 to process the checks.
All right, any other questions? Okay, any proponents for this item on our agenda? Any opponents?
Lenny Montgomery, Fairview, South Dakota. I truly, I will admit that I'm a little lost on this public hearing for the supplements. We're adding a supplement already to the 2025 budget. And 2 weeks ago, it was 70,000 in addition for architecture for the Justice Center, and then I'm looking here at another addition to the budget. Maybe I'm not understanding this clearly of why we are already doing an addition to the budget. And so I'm opposed to this until I have further understanding. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other opponents? All right, if not, Sherry, I'm going to give you an opportunity to come up and address that if you'd like.
We have to supplement the budget due to resolutions that the board has passed. The $70,000 that Linda's referring to is part of the bonding that's not part of the budget process in this context. But these are resolutions that were passed by the board. So in order to have the money spent, the budget needs to be increased because the board did already approve the spending. And
Thank you.
per the SDCL 72122, we do have to increase the budgets.
Thank you. Did that bring up for any questions for Sherry for anybody? All right, if not, then I would consider a motion.
And I'll make that motion.
Motion, that's a motion to approve?
Second.
I'm just clarifying, that's a motion to approve the supplements, correct?
Correct.
All right, and then that's your second, Commissioner
Correct.
Schmidt? Thank you. Any discussion amongst the board? All right, if not, Alicia, will you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Aaron's?
Yes.
Otten?
Yes.
Schmidt?
Yes.
Putnam?
Yes.
Landine?
Yes, motion carries. Next item on our agenda, we've got board discussion with possible action to follow for wage changes within the Information Technology Department. Good morning, Jake.
Morning, Jake Oakland, Director of IT. I'm here to seek authorization for the potential to increase the salaries for the IT Director and the Systems Administrator for the department. We have an opening that recently happened in our office, and with that, we did a survey to see what the titles out there and what every county's using and how they're paying, and we noticed a discrepancy that we feel would be a great asset to the county to keep for retention for the IT department. With this, I do want to add that it would not do an increase to the 2025 budget. The budget there should not see any type of supplement at all. We are still looking to hire for that third position that we are still waiting to do. I'm waiting for HR to be here so that we can finalize the job title and classification for that position. But to start off with, I'll pull up the IT director's pay comparison. So in looking at with the IT director pay between the different counties in Sioux Falls, I did notice a discrepancy that was larger, and that is why I'm seeking this increase. Currently, the Minnehaha County IT Director gets paid $173,000, and the City of Sioux Falls has a kind of like a hybrid position, so that one kind of doesn't fall in line, but they also take care of the finance and innovation and technology. My current pay is $137,872, and I'm proposing $156,055. Also below, I tried to find statistics that would be legitimate. I found at the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics in 2023, the median for this for this title is $169,518. So I thought, because we are so close to the Sioux Falls market, and you can see as my predecessors are significantly higher than where I'm at, that's why I'm asking for this increase. Now, with the system administrator, I have a similar aspect as well. Currently, this person is making $36.30 per hour, and I'm proposing a 43.16 per hour. Minnehaha County, that position is at $54.50, and at the City of Sioux Falls, that position is $48.80. I did the same, tried to find statistics from the Government Bureau of Labor Statistics from back in 2023. The median was 95,000, and that would still get us below, even with this increase, it would get us below that median of what they had. And then recently, Minnehaha County released their proposed new salary ranges for these titles. So I'm going to display the system administrators. Here is the current range. It's about 80,000 to 116, and their new is 88,000 to 113. With this increase with just the system administrator, they still would be just at the starting of what Minnehaha County has displayed on their proposed range. Now with the IT director, the previous was 119, the max is 173, and the new proposed of the beginning is 135, and the max is 200. With this increase as well, this will get us right between the median of their scale and the beginning of their scale. So I do feel that this increase is something that is within the realm of what is out there on the market today. Other than that, I will say again that it is not an increase to the budget, and I'm ready for any questions.
All right, thank you for that, Jake. Any of the board have questions for Jake?
Yes, I do.
Yes.
How many times have you been approached for other jobs?
You can answer that if you want.
I would say it's happened. That's what I'll say. It's happened.
Well, you know, I guess I'm looking at this in the respects that you are kind of the top of the food chain as far as taking care of business in this county courthouse. I just wanted to make people aware of the fact that there are people always looking for people.
Yes, I do, and I would say we understand that working within the government, you will never be at what the private sector makes. And the best part about working in the government, and this is just me speaking, is I like working for the people. I like working here. It's a great place to work. The best part is I get to see where my tax dollars are being spent, and I get to help them make sure that we're not overspending and things like that. So it's great working here. But I do feel that it's in the county's best interest, because this department is so vital to all offices, to make sure we're decently competitive with the market of Sioux Falls.
Sounds fair.
Madam Chair?
Yep, go ahead.
You're in a department, Jake, of a small, but I can't tell you what an impact you have had on this county as far as technology, because we are probably as technology-driven as any county in the state. And you and I have talked about this. The thing that worries me the most, if you did take a position, as Commissioner Putnam had alluded to, yeah, we'd be spending a lot of more dollars than what we are now to replace you. So I commend you for your hard work and your dedication, and I don't think your request is out of line at all. I'm in favor. So, Madam Chair?
Thank you. Any other questions by the board?
Madam Chair.
Go ahead.
I just want to say thank you for bringing this forward. I know that you guys have been working basically as a two-person staff for a very long time. And I commend you for what you have gotten done inside this, and I know that that takes extreme hours on your end trying to get all this done. So I appreciate you bringing this forward and all the work that you've done to bring it forward to the commissioners to justify what you've done. Because I don't see it as a reward for what you've done as your job. I see it as fair compensation, so thank you.
Yes, and for many years, this department ran off of 2 employees, and just recently, within the last 4 years, we hired another person. And I think I would add to this that when the new HR director comes here, we will be looking for additional positions, because we don't want to create that problem where if something does happen to me, this county falls apart. So we want to make sure that we have that staff. And that is something I can give you the numbers on, like Minnehaha County, they have 12 employees in the IT department alone, where we only have 3 now. So it is a need, and I think it's something that even all the departments here would ask for as well.
Thank you, Jake. Just things that I've seen, and even just recently, there's discussions with the new Justice Center about running some certain kind of cable through some different conduit. And so, Jake right there saved us over $100,000 when he said that was ridiculous. So I've appreciated his input on that project very much.
And if you would like an example of a savings, even just on the building part that he brought that up, I was part of the building planning, and this is a funny story, but the building security for that building came in at about, I think, $500,000, and with us as the IT department reviewing it and working with our vendors, we had a cost savings about over $300,000 alone in that just one aspect of security for that building. So we do our work. We do try to save money as much as we can and create efficiencies as much as we can.
Thank you, Jake. Any other questions or comments from the board?
Jake, good morning.
Morning.
When you say that the increase doesn't have any effect on your budget, explain to me what that means.
Yes, so with the position of the person that left with us, they have been here for a long period of time, so there was a longevity of a higher wage with that one. With a new person coming in, we also reclassified that position, and that position did come on lower than the current position was. But it also, with that, I do want to add there that I reviewed the salary for that one, and it is within the Sioux Falls market as well. But with that savings there, we have a little bit of surplus of funds there. When I calculated it out and I had the auditor double check my numbers, it would be there'd be an extra about $2,000 left at the end of the year under my salary line item.
Okay, so in year 1, it'll be revenue neutral,
Yep.
or spending neutral, I guess, right?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
All right, any other questions or comments for Jake? All right, thank you, Jake. Any public input on this agenda item? All right, if not, to consider a motion.
I would make that a motion, Otten.
All right, got a motion by Otten, second by Schmidt, and that is to approve the wage changes, correct?
Yes, please.
And correct on the second?
Yes.
Thank you. Any discussion amongst the board? If not, Alicia, will you call the roll?
Commissioner Aaron's,
Yes.
Otten,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Putnam,
Yes.
Landine.
Yes, motion carries.
Thank you, and I would like to add one more. I would ask that the Board of Commission takes a little initiative to have the new HR director look into the salary structures. I mean, when I looked at the Minnehaha County salary, new proposed, it's interesting to see what the difference is and everything in there. So when the new HR person is, I would ask that you bring that up to her as well.
Thank you,
Thank
Jake.
you.
All right, next item on our agenda, board action to purchase a base stabilizing agent off the Harding County bid from Team Lab for $27 a gallon. Hey, Terry.
Morning, Commissioners. Terry Floyd, Highway Superintendent. Again, as you read, looking to purchase base stabilizing agent off the Harding County bid. This is going to be for $27 a gallon. And we'll probably need about 11 totes. Again, we're going to be using this for a project on County Road 134 this year. We're going to be doing an FDR and stabilization and repaving of that road. So,
And this is something that we haven't bid, Terry?
no, we're purchasing off of their bid.
Okay, so we never put it out for
No,
bid.
I never did. no.
All right, thank you. Anybody have any questions for Terry? All right, any public input on this agenda item? If not, can I get a motion to approve the purchase?
Yes.
I've got a motion from Commissioner Putnam. Do I have a second?
Second.
I've got a motion and a second. Any discussion? If not, Alicia, will you call the roll?
Commissioner Aaron's?
Yes.
Otten?
Yes.
Schmidt?
Yes.
Putnam?
Yes.
Landine?
Yes, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item, Helpline Center presentation on services and 2026 budget request. Paul, you're handling that?
Well, I'll just introduce Helpline Center quick.
Okay, go ahead.
So this is, and I probably should have done this last night, Paul Anderson, Commission Assistant. Last week, or 2 weeks ago, we had the Children's Home come up and present. Again, these presentations are from agencies that we fund through our budget process. And then, similar to the presentations the department heads give, we are having these agencies also come up and talk about the services they provide, the number of Lincoln County residents, things they do, and answer any questions from the board. As you can see in the facts embedding, last year their budget allotment was $9,473, and the request for 2026 is $12,000. So with that, I'll bring up Amy from the from Helpline Center and let her take it away.
Good morning.
Good morning.
See if I can get this pulled up.
Just do it quick.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, Amy Carter, Chief Operating Officer with the Helpline Center. I'll just share a little bit about our services and, of course, answer any questions that you might have. So the mission of the Helpline Center, as you can see here, is to make lives better by giving support, offering hope, and creating connections every day. We have been serving the communities since 1974, starting out as a basic information and referral service and a volunteer center, gathering information on what services are available, and then also the separate part of that was connecting individuals with volunteer opportunities. And those are some of our core services that have just continued to expand as the time has gone on. Oop, I'm not sure. How do I? Oh, there we go. Sorry about that. So this is just a overview of our 6 core services, and I will not go into each of these in great detail, but the top 3 there are 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. I'll talk a little bit more specifically about that here in a moment, as well as the 211 service and our volunteer connections. I'll focus on those 3 here in a minute, but I just wanted to mention our other support services that are listed there. Our suicide prevention trainings. So we go throughout the state providing different services on suicide prevention trainings, anywhere from 1-hour trainings to businesses and schools and services as up to 2-day more comprehensive suicide prevention trainings for the professionals that work in that field. We offer services for suicide survivors. So I think it's important to note that for every suicide, there are at least 6 to 8 people who are directly impacted by that suicide. And so we want to be there to support those individuals through support groups, classes, individual support, events that are specific to survivors. So we offer a variety of those services, and they are statewide, but of course serving Lincoln County as well. And then our other support programs, this is a wide gamut of things that I won't go into a great detail on. That could take us many hours. And so we have our Helpline Center Network of Care, which connects community resources and programs that serve individuals. We have our Community Information Exchange, our Child Care Helpline, which connects parents who are looking for child care with those services in their community. We have a hospital outreach program that provides outreach to individuals after they've been discharged from a behavioral health facility. And then we also offer substance use care coordination programs for individuals going through being after when they're at high risk due to substance use situations. So lots of services, all of them are available on our website if people want more specifics on those. But I did want to focus on our 211, 988, and volunteer connection services. They are probably our most widely used services and, impact the county here most significantly. So our 211 program, if you're not familiar with 211, that is a 24-hour service that provides information and referral for government and social service programs. So basically, individuals who are looking for help with rental assistance, or they need foods resources, helping after a disaster, or other basic health information, tax prep assistance, who helps with that, things like that. Those are services that people could contact 211 for, and then we would connect them with the resources in their area that meet those needs. So we can assist through email, text, or phone calls to serve people in this area. And this is really the core of why the Helpline Center started 50 years ago. I would also focus on the disaster part of that. Anytime there's a disaster in our state, we are the primary number that people then publicize for that. So your emergency managers, your sheriff department, whoever it might be that is putting out information related to that disaster, typically they're going to suggest people call 211, and then we would have all that information to direct them to. It's really helpful for, obviously in a disaster, there's so much chaos and so much going on, and information is changing constantly. Having one source of that information is very helpful to individuals and the government. So that is what the 211 can provide for that. Just a little data here for you. So this is statistics specifically for Lincoln County related to 211 for the last year. You'll see we had just over 1,100 total contacts from Lincoln County residents. Majority of those being phone calls, some emails, and some texts. When people are reaching out to us from Lincoln County, the majority of those are going to be what we classify as information and referral. So where do I go to help paying my rent? Or are there any food distributions happening this weekend, services like that. How do I get my driver's license renewed? And we can refer them to what county office helps with that, or what government office helps with that. So those are just some very simple questions, but some examples of why somebody might reach out to 211. Out of those 1,100 contacts, we had over 2,600 needs identified, and you can see the most common are typically basic needs, the housing, utility assistance, food. And then I mentioned that we provide services during disaster as well. So what you're seeing on the side there, it's a little too small for you to see great detail, but that's just an example of what our dashboard looks like. Any time you want, you can go to our website, which is listed there, and there's a dashboard. And you can filter that down by geographical region, you can filter it down by date ranges, and so this data that I shared with you today was pulled directly off that dashboard, and so that is accessible to you at any time if you want more specific information specific to Lincoln County or the state in general if you'd like. So the other service I'll mention is our 988, which is our suicide and crisis lifeline. This began in July of 2022. Prior to that time, there was a 1-800 National Suicide Helpline, and in 2022, the country changed that number to a 3-digit number. Just like 211, just like 911, a 3-digit number makes it much more accessible for people. So obviously, that's the hope when someone is in a suicidal crisis or a substance use crisis, that we want them to know what number to call and how to reach that help. So you'll see 988 takes calls, texts, and chats. And it doesn't have to be a suicidal crisis. Sometimes people think that that's what 988 is for, but it's really any mental health, behavioral health, substance use, or other crisis situation. So it's important, that's something that we really try to get that information out, that you do not have to be in suicidal crisis to reach out to 988. We have our mental health counselors with advanced degrees who answer 988 here in South Dakota. That is not the case in every state. Every state, of course, is answered by staff. Some states use volunteers. We require master's level degree for all of those individuals answering our 988 service. We'll offer follow-up calls to people, and then also you'll see there that this is a partnership between the South Dakota Department of Social Service, this is the Division of Behavioral Health, and the Helpline Center. So this is very much a joint effort to serve the state with 988. I put this in here just so you have a little idea of what happens when someone calls, texts, or chats 988. First, they identify if they're a specialized population. If so, that gets directed to a specialized 988 mental health counselor, not in South Dakota. Those do go outside of South Dakota. But anyone else who is calling from South Dakota, they get routed to the Helpline Center in Sioux Falls. So I think that's important for people to know that they are being served by somebody locally when they reach out, which means we have more access to resources. We understand the process if you're going to Avera Behavioral Health or reaching out for help. And what also is great about that is that we have those direct connections with our 911 and police departments throughout the state, because if we do have to do an emergency dispatch or response for somebody who is in crisis, we have those relationships with all of the 911s and police throughout the state. So after we assess the situation, talk with them a little bit about what's going on, essentially we're just offering that listening and support, and then offering follow-ups if needed. So here's our 988 data just specifically for Lincoln County for 2024. We had 357 total contacts, and you can see the breakdown for calls, chats, or texts related to that. We continue to see an increase in the number of chats and texts that we're getting. As you can imagine, there's maybe a certain age population that's a more popular way to reach out. So it's been exciting to see that particular part of the service get utilized more. And then we do also have calls transferred directly from 911 that were Lincoln County specific. And so I just will, the next slide will talk a little bit about how that relationship works. But I really want to point out that over 97% of the contacts to 988, not just for Lincoln County, but in general, are de-escalated and stabilized, which reduces the need to dispatch law enforcement. So that's a huge community service and a huge, obviously, use of our resources when we're having people reach out to 988 versus going through law enforcement if they don't have a safety concern. About 26% of the contacts were crisis-related. The most common reasons that people are reaching out are related to anxiety, relationship issues, of course, suicide and depression as well. And same thing, there's a dashboard on our website if you're interested in that. And then this is just a quick graphic on how the three numbers are connected. In the center is that person. Obviously, we just want to serve individuals and meet their needs the best we can. So if somebody reaches out to 211, I've already shared with you why they might do that, the reasons for reaching out to 988, and of course, we all know why someone would reach out to 911. But what happens if somebody calls 211, but it's really more of a medical emergency? Or what happens if somebody is in a suicidal crisis and call 911 instead of 988? All of these numbers work together to those warm transfers, those warm handoffs. So daily we are connecting people one way or the other through those. So it's really that concept of there's no wrong phone number. We don't want people to feel like if they call this number, they're not going to get the help that they need. So this just demonstrates the partnership that is happening between those organizations. And obviously 211 and 988, we're right in the same building, so it's pretty easy, but working with those 911s is really important as well. And lastly, I'll just mention our Volunteer Connections program. So this is a service here for the Sioux Empire where if you are looking for volunteer opportunities, you can connect with us and we can connect you with a volunteer opportunity that meets your needs. Say you want to work with elderly on the weekends, or you looking for a family opportunity one Saturday a month. All of those resources, or all those opportunities are listed in our database. You can see we have over 300 agencies, over 200 volunteer opportunities, and we do a lot of connecting with the community there as well. And then I would also mention our SALSA program, because this is in a couple of schools within Lincoln County. So SALSA is our Serve and Learn Student Association. It engages high school students in volunteerism. They meet new friends, they explore their careers, and they really gain leadership experience. So I'm not sure if any of you have had your own children or known someone who has been through the SALSA program in any of our schools, but it's a huge benefit, and the kids really love it. So just sharing a couple numbers on how many students we have in our T and Lennox schools, and we continue to look at ways to add schools throughout the communities as well. I wanted to get through that in case there was any questions or comments that you had about anything. I believe you have our application for financial support, so I didn't go into any specifics on that, but I'm happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thanks for coming down today. Do any of the board members have questions?
Madam Chair.
Yep, go ahead.
You talked about suicide prevention, and is this all local, or do you reach into the reservations for that as well?
Yes, so all of the services related to suicide prevention are statewide for the state of South Dakota that we provide. Yes,
Thank you.
you bet.
Other questions?
Madam Chair?
Go ahead.
Amy, I've seen the growth that you've experienced over the period of years, and I think you've outgrown your present facilities and you had to move out. So I just can say that these areas that you represent, certainly when the public sees that, they're kind of a reflection on what we are and how well they're needed. Suicide prevention is huge, actually amongst agricultural areas, is probably never talked about that much, but yet the farm sector has more than their share of that. And for 211, to be able to answer all of these things is kind of a one-stop shop. So if you haven't ever used it, you probably don't know how convenient it is. I've had the opportunity to volunteer and been there and seen what they do, and to help that lifeline for people is so essential that they're really not alone and lost out there. So my editorial comment is I think that's money well spent.
Thank you so much. I would expand on your comment about suicide risk, especially for the agricultural community, and that is we continue to look at those high-risk groups, which of course are adolescents, rural areas, agriculture, the blue-collar population, if you will. Those are some areas that we are really focusing on. Native Americans, we're focusing a lot on those in the upcoming years, So I appreciate you mentioning that.
All right, other comments or questions? All right, and then is there any public input on the presentation? All right, thanks for coming down.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.
You bet. We'll move on to our next agenda item. Mr. Sheriff.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Steve Swenson, Lake County Sheriff. As I go through this slide presentation, obviously I supervise or oversee 4 budgets, so it's all in here together. Really, I took my annual report and I added some slides to it. And for those that don't know, that it's an accomplishment that we were striving for a couple years ago, but we finally got it together last year, is the Sheriff's Office Annual Report. It kind of mirrors Pennington County. It's online on the Lincoln County website. If you're into data or what's going on, but I did find some numbers that weren't calculating right. I also found out I don't know how to do PowerPoint because I changed the PowerPoint and ruined the PowerPoint, and was up till 1 o'clock last night fixing the PowerPoint. I wasn't fixing the PowerPoint, but. All right, so the mission of the Lincoln County Sheriff's Office is to serve the citizens of Lincoln County with integrity, honor, compassion, and fairness. Our high standards, community involvement, transparency, proactiveness, and commitment to the public safety allows us to provide an exceptional law enforcement service to citizens of Lincoln County. And I truly believe the Lincoln County Sheriff's Office lives up to this mission statement day to day. As you can see in our community involvement, with some of the pictures attached, this is a reading to the Worthing kids, Travis Johns, Sergeant Kuntz, working with, do a lot of work with the kids. This is just introducing the fact that we have the annual report online now. This is a structure of the Sheriff's Office currently, actually in 2024, so there'll be some changes. We have the Patrol Division, Investigations and Civil, and then the Courthouse and Jail, and our comm staff, 911. So this is just kind of how the flow of our structure works. Just some statistical information about Lincoln County. We currently have 22 deputies, including sergeants and the patrol lieutenant. In patrol, 9 employees in the jail, 5 in civil, and some of these are redundant because the lieutenant that supervises investigation also supervises civil. Communications, there's 13 for a total of 53 employees. These are the four budgets. 24/7 is nearly 100% funded by revenue outside of the general fund. It's the money we generate from the 24/7 program. The jail, as you can see, is kind of a dead horse. We get 4% revenue outside. 96% comes out of the general fund. Communication center, we're striving to get that to be more fairly funded by the users. Whoops, I'm sorry. I don't know how to back up, so. Okay, and then the sheriff's office, the main contributor to the revenue in the sheriff's office would be the Harrisburg contract. Just some things that we do in the office. We do fingerprinting for schools, school applicants, teacher applicants, nurses are the main two. We currently charge $12.50 per card, and the revenue stays pretty even year to year. Pistol permits, although you don't need a pistol permit for most people, it's becoming more and more popular. We've issued 743 in '24. These are just some awards. The deputies, these two deputies were on the same call. It was a young female in Harrisburg that had overdosed on what we believe was fentanyl, but they stayed with her, gave her Narcan, 2 doses of Narcan, brought her back, and she's still with us today. So they received the Lincoln County Life Saving Award. It's Deputy Zongo and Deputy Hahnemann. Here's the motley crew. These are the patrol deputies currently. We're gonna lose Anthony Zongo he's going to the Federal Park Service. Make sure everybody else is there. So that's just a breakdown of the four in the middle are the sergeants, and then your deputies are down below. Calls for service, citations issued last year, 2,900, 3,500 warnings, 29 juvenile summons, 238 drunk driving. Just kind of a breakdown. Drug arrest, 487 total with misdemeanor and felony. So the guys are out there working, guys and girls. Again, just some of the highlight stuff that we look at. One of the numbers that is trending down, and I credit this to the work the deputies are doing, is the burglaries. They've got a system on these storage units, which is our number one thing that gets hit, but they've pushed it down by 30%. We'll see if it holds true for this year, but they've got a pretty good system of keeping those areas patrolled, and I think the bad guys are starting to get the information. Traffic accidents in the county. The left is crashes that are investigated by other agencies, and on the right, far right, is what the Lincoln County Sheriff's Office does. As you can see, other than the city of Sioux Falls, obviously population-wise, we write it's more crashes than the Highway Patrol does in Lincoln County, so we're stay busy with that. Civil Department. This was a huge accomplishment. Sergeant Carlson, I tasked him with, after doing some research on other counties, said, hey, why are we so far behind Brookings County or Aberdeen in revenue? And it was being billed wrong. So as you can see, he brought the revenue up by $100,000 over each year for the last 2 years. So that was pretty good sized accomplishment there. And then here's our investigation crew. Leah is our domestic violence and general crim. Brock is general crim. Andrew Steinberg does a lot of general criminal investigations along with, he is our ICAC guy, which is Internet Crimes Against Children. And then, of course, the two SROs. a highlight is Andrew Steinberg has done an amazing job with ICAC. He's been involved with 26 child exploitation cases, 10 arrests, several of those in Lincoln County, most of them being tried federally, although the state attorney's office has taken a couple of these. School resource program, that's Travis Johns. Probably one of the most well-known school resource officers in the state. He does a phenomenal job. This year is the first year for Justin Mercier. He's at the Harrisburg Middle School, again showing his involvement in the community. Jail staff, that was 2024. The lieutenant spot is vacant. Dave Knutson retired in February, so we'll be filling that position. Just the jail numbers there was 3,200 bookings last year. We spent $2.2 million housing, and just like everything, every year stuff just trends upward. 24/7 program. And this, obviously courthouse security here, Lowell and Terry. Warrants and warrant revenue from the $25 sheriff fee. Communication center, total calls staying pretty same. They trended down last year, and I truly believe that was because we didn't have any snow. So snowstorms create a lot of calls. Just some of the grants that the sheriff's office has been able to get a hold of. The highway safety grants are grants that the state, it's a state program. It's through the feds, but the state distributes it. The highway safety grants are, they pay salaries for overtime to work speed enforcement, DUI enforcement. Bulletproof vest is just a reimbursement. They reimburse, I believe, 50% of the cost of the vest to the county. And that's ongoing. Every 5 years, a deputy needs a new vest, so it's an ongoing grant. So in 2024, we received $52,000 from Homeland Security, and that was for purchasing of 10 digital radios. Actually, it was $48,000, but it was 100% for our portable radios, 10 new digital radios, and the Smart Connect, which is so it connects to the internet on our cars. We currently have on loan $779,000 worth of equipment from the 1033 program, which is just a loaner program from the federal government, which the president has lifted all restrictions on that were on with the last administration, but currently we have no need. We have pretty much what we need. Training, as you can see, training hours have gone up substantially, which is a good thing for us. We have instructors in Stinger spike deployment, taser, radar, LiDAR, handgun, less lethal, use of force, driving under the influence, drug recognition, defensive tactics, and red dot. This just allows us to do all of our training in-house for the most part, which is a cost savings to the county, but it also allows us to send our people to more specialized training. The top picture there is Sergeant Carlson, Sergeant Bast, and Sergeant Colson attended the FBI LEDA, which is Law Enforcement Executive Development. In the bottom there, it is Deputy Hahnemann, and the far right is Deputy, well, two from the right is Dispatcher Johnson and Deputy Branton. And we try to train everybody in CIT, which is Crisis and Intervention Team, just helps them understand how to deal with people in a mental crisis. Sergeant Bass went to Las Vegas and was certified in court security and successfully completed that. Lieutenant Lord and Lieutenant Esplin attended the LEDA Leadership Trilogy, which is a 6-week course, but it's broken up over a few months, but they successfully completed that. This is probably my favorite one, Detective Stroshine, Leah. attended the National Forensic Academy down in Knoxville, Tennessee. It was a 10-week program, and as you can see, she received the Dr. Williams Bass Award, which was the top award for the class. And these were police officers from all over the country. Just some events that we participate. I like to joke around about this one here with Travis Johns, showing Deputy Von Hayden how to bulk up. Just some more community events. Probably my favorite one is this. That's my daughter with FFA. But one to note here is Senator Ernie Otten and Betty Otten were part of this donation. And as you can see, we just get a ton of community service. This is not just a cardboard box. It's full of Jimmy John sandwiches. So we're pretty fortunate. We have a lot of community support. So that's the 2024 annual report that's online. What we have going on so far in 2025 with the sheriff's office is the numbers are on track to be pretty similar to last year, maybe a little bit higher. One of the things we've been very successful at this year so far, we've already received $111,803 in grant money. The Drug Control Fund, Attorney General Jackley awarded us that. When I came to the commission last year about encryption on the radios so we could hear Minnehaha County and Sioux Falls Police, we received the wrong information on the bid, so it was at $12,000 and it's actually about $45,000. So in order to do that, I started reaching out to Attorney General Jackley, and he was generous to award us about 80% of that cost. So we're going to be able to move forward without asking the commission for more money. The $30,000 was a grant that the investigation team actually worked on and was able to receive for a phone to investigate its crimes that involve electronics. So our sheriff's office is actually a go-to for other departments to get into their phones because we actually have the software to do it. And that was fully funded by that grant, and the investigation team did a great job in getting that. It took them about 90 days from the time they submitted it to the time we received the check. So we're up and running with that. And then we just received $48,000 from Homeland Security for the digital radios. So the 2024 number was 58,000. So we are now fully equipped with all digital radios. Currently, Harrisburg's contract is $1,029,453. But we did do something new this year. We assigned a sergeant to Harrisburg kind of as our liaison with city administration. They gave him an office in the old post office. Just give us a little better connection with their administration, and it's been very valuable. So Sergeant Kuntz has been assigned to that. Okay, this is our PSAP numbers so far this year. Pretty much on track for what they were last year, but as you can see, they stay busy. 2025, the shared revenue from the 911 fund. So that went up to $2 this year, and the reason they call it the shared revenue is the state gets 70 cents, we get $1.30. That increased our revenue by approximately $200,000 from that. Then the 911 communication contract with the cities of Worthing, Canton, T, Lenox, and Turner County is $208,000 a year. And I just have Turner County noted there, and I just want to let you know that Drew and I have been working on their increased revenue from that same fee, the $2 fee. They're currently paying less than that amount, so, and in my opinion, we should be receiving 100% of that from Turner County. So that would be an additional about $50,000 a year. The jail, right now we have 767 bookings year to date. The prison care budget is $2.45 million. if we continue on the pace we're at, we will have about $5,000 left at the end of the year, so hopefully it's trending down a little bit. It was up close to 70 at one time, but the state's attorney's office, the courts, and our jail staff do a good job of keeping people out of there if they can. 24/7, this is just their current stuff. They currently have 17 drug patches out, remote breaths, they have 31, and 106 gram bracelets. Again, another thing that trying to keep the costs down on the jail side and keep people out in the community and working. So looking into 2026, the Harrisburg contract, Drew and I met with them last week, and I think we've come to an agreement, as long as the commission agrees to the agreement we came to, but it would be an increase of $310,000 annually with a 3% increase after this year annually. And that's just due to their population growth. They're up 3,000 people since the last contract. And to handle the extra population in Harrisburg and service that contract along with the population growth in Lincoln County, it's my intention to ask for 3 deputies for 2026. And then reclassify a deputy position to a sergeant to backfill the sergeant we assigned to Harrisburg. And then the patrol vehicles, we would ask for 5. That's 4 replacement vehicles. We currently have, I want to say 6 vehicles over $100,000, but we did reassign a couple of, 2 Ford pickups, quite frankly, to admin staff. And we feel like we can get another year or 2 out of those. And then we're going to turn over 2 vehicles in the state's attorney's office. So that's just replacing, we drive about 450,000 miles a year. So that's 4.5 cars. And then the 5th one would be for the additional the deputies that we're going to be asking for. So 24/7, we're asking for nothing. It's just status quo. It runs well and has the capacity with the redundancy we have with corrections officers. Not going to ask for any increases in that. No increase in staffing for the jail or for 911. Jail and courts is where the questions are going to come in. Lowell Nelson is retiring in June, so we'll have to fill his position, which he's a part-time person. We're hoping to replace him with a full-time person. Just a hard position to find anybody that wants to do it full-time. And then the question I have for you guys is, it's my recommendation that when the courthouse moves, that this security is no longer, and that because we're gonna need that security at the courthouse. And I think with the sheriff's office staying here, the camera system we have, we're right here. I don't think we need to, with it not being a courthouse anymore. So I think it'd be about a $200,000 or $300,000 expense to keep security here alone. I think the benefit of us being here makes it unnecessary. Again, Turner County, we're talking with them about their revenue and they seem to be very receptive to some increase in the 911 shared revenue. City of Harrisburg, there's another element I put into that is part of their contract will be, and it's an increase to cover some of the PSAP expenses. Again, just trying to make it fair for all the users, especially for Lincoln County, because we've been taking the brunt of it, but we're getting there to the point where it will be cost neutral. And that is it.
All right, thanks, Sheriff. Anybody on the board have questions or comments for our sheriff?
Madam Chair?
Go ahead.
Sheriff Swenson, you're very good at promoting your staff and all of the awards, and I have correspondence that said you are chair of the Sheriff's Association for South Dakota? Or I got a letter from you which said, I attributed that to you. So what are you chair of?
I'm not the chair of anything. That letter was generated by the South Dakota Sheriff's Association, and they sent it out to residents of Lincoln County. They asked for all of our signatures to raise money for the association.
Okay.
And it is no more than just, I'm the Lincoln County Sheriff, and the Lincoln County residents got the letter with my signature.
Okay.
And
Well-
I didn't know it was sent out until I got a nice text from Betty. I'm like, oh, this is a scam. So I had to make some calls. But thanks to her, I'm like, that's my signature. But yeah,
Well, I received a letter also, and have come that.
it's a great association. They do a ton of work in Pierre for during legislative session and training and
You know, the other thing, Steve, we probably don't say thank you enough, is the amount of money that you raise through grants. How much money that saves the taxpayers an immense amount of money in all the grants that you have secured. And it takes a great deal of time and energy and research to get those done, and they're all competitive. So I commend you for that, because I do think that a significant portion of your budget is supported by grants, so do that.
All right, anybody else?
And I'll also confess I was part of that, whatever those speeding tickets were. I think a couple of those were mine in there, so.
buying books.
All right. All right, thanks, Steve.
Thank you.
Is there any public input on the sheriff's presentation? All right. Go ahead, come on up.
My name is Beth Coyle from Harrisburg, and I just
I'm
want
sorry,
to-
can you repeat that into the microphone,
Beth Coyle
please?
from Harrisburg,
Thank you.
and I just want to thank you and your officers for all you do to keep everybody safe, knowing that when you go out, you don't know what you're going to run into, and putting your life on the line at some point. But, so I'm kind of new to all of this, and just in your budget, you mentioned a $2.2 million for housing. Could you explain what that means? and what that's-
Ma'am, you can address your comments to the
Okay.
board, and then I'll give Sheriff Swenson an opportunity to come back up if he'd like to.
Okay, all right, so like I said, news to
Nope,
this, so.
nope, that's okay.
Just wondering what the $2.2 million for housing all entails.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other public input on this presentation? All right, Sheriff, did you want to come up and address that?
So the 2.2 million is what we pay, mainly Minnehaha County, for housing our inmates. And they house, right now, it's the average of 60 a day, which is the ADP, the average daily population. So we roughly have 60 people in there at all times. And we pay them a fee per day, per inmate, of, I believe it's $112. So, and then we'll also get some billing from Pennington County, just jails where we might have somebody picked up on a warrant, busing inmates back from Pennington County. So it's just what it costs to have inmates.
Now, and that's just the per day cost, correct? That's not the transporting or the officers that you've hired to perform those tasks?
Right, and I'm gonna wing this, but I think the total jail budget, which is staff, equipment, cars, fuel, is $3.3 million.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Sheriff. We're going to go ahead and move on to our next presentation. We have our state's attorney, Tom Woolman. Good morning, Tom.
Good morning. Tom Woolman, Lincoln County State's Attorney. And before I get going, I read on Steve's Facebook page a lot about jury duty scams and other scams that are, preying upon the public of individuals purporting to be from the sheriff's office. And I'd like to report that I fell victim to one. Steve invited me out for dinner the other night, and you know where that bill went, right to me when he left to go take a phone call when the server came around. So I'd like to report another scam where sheriff ran off quickly before the bill was due. Let's see. So just a little bit of an overview of my office. Of course, I think the primary mission of my office is the pursuit of justice on behalf of the state of South Dakota and our victims, and as well the defendants that we service. Our mission in the office is to pursue justice with all those interests in mind, fashioning recommendations to the court that take into account both the victim's needs, the state's needs, and as well the defendant's needs for purposes of punishment or rehabilitation, etc. My goal would be to be the character from the Maytag repair commercial of years ago, where he's the loneliest guy in the world because he doesn't have customers. If I could get some of the customers out of our stats, I would be a happy prosecutor, because truly we want people to grow, recover, and move on from the reasons that brought them to us. And of course, we don't meet people or our customers at their high points in life. We meet them at their low points. And truly our effort is to, of course, protect the public and to address the needs of those defendants. Additionally, of course, one of the roles of the office is our civil division, and Drew is here weekly to assist you with your needs, but also provides legal advice to the department heads, to the sheriff's office, and to the elected officials throughout the courthouse. And that keeps him busy. And his deputy as well, Joe Meter, running the airport issues, mental health commitment issues, etc. They're busy. Additionally, the office handles abuse and neglect cases. Those are cases involving youth who are otherwise abused or neglected, either by an injurious environment or a lack of parenting, etc. And those actions, of course, focus on the best interests of the child and their needs. And we work in those cases towards reunification of the child with the parents, and work on rehabilitating those parents and educating them as to how to be better parents. Additionally, we work on expungement matters as well as habeas corpus proceedings, which we've had definitely an uptick in habeas proceedings, and Drew's department handles those for our office. So those would be collateral attacks that are filed by inmates who are in the penitentiary, predominantly challenging various procedural matters in their proceedings. So that's what those are. A recap of our previous years, our past caseloads. We had a fairly significant uptick from 22 to 23. I believe the stat is about a 17% increase. And that first line in circuit court would include our felony matters as well as the civil matters as well. And as well I believe that's class 1 misdemeanors as well. So that's pretty much everything that we've got. And we really, I think we're playing catch up from that yet, because then in 24, we went up to 19% of an increase from 22. And that was, I think, reflected when I appeared in front of the board seeking another attorney position and another victim witness assistant position later last year. I'm happy to report that we've filled the VWA position as of yesterday. We're still in what I would call sort of the recruitment process of trying to find another attorney for the office. Really what we were searching for, or have been searching for, is someone with some experience would be ideal. And we're working towards recruitment there for that position. But again, back to the numbers, you can see those increases. The A&Ns have remained somewhat static with that anomaly in 23 of filing 20. Those cases go on for a fairly lengthy period of time. 8 to 10 to 12 months is not unheard of, while those parents hopefully are working with the Department of Social Services to address those issues that brought that child to us. So they kind of go on. Backing up, again, I think Sheriff Swenson talked about the ICAC department, or the Internet Crimes Against Children. He added Detective Steinberg, who was trained in those investigations, and while he's brought certainly some of those to the federal prosecutors, he's brought a lot of that work to us as well. And it's nothing short of alarming or shocking the number of local victims that we have or number of local referrals that we get on those cases. And again, those are primarily focused on internet crimes against children, which involve either sexual exploitation or child pornography, potentially rape charges as well. And it's certainly brought us a number of cases to our office, and we're glad for that. But again, it's alarming at what's out there on the internet with some of the investigations that he's working on. Our past caseloads, civil filings, again, a significant increase there from citations, mental illness filings, and then the total Lincoln County filings, again, from that 22 to the 24, the 2022 to 2024, that increase was about a 24% increase. And I see that Carl Tonis is here from court admin today, and I'm guessing he'd be available to address some of the, if the board has any questions about that uptick. But that's the third largest filings in the state, and a significant increase in those filings since 22. And again, those would be civil filings, criminal filings across the board. So divorce matters, personal injury matters, contractual matters that go to litigation, et cetera. We've had a big uptick there. I think in reviewing what we worked on in 24, 1,000 Class 1 misdemeanors, in the neighborhood of about 700 felony filings. We've got 8 pending homicide cases, which are really keeping us busy, and about 775 Class 2 misdemeanor filings. I would say that the homicide numbers that we're dealing with are certainly up, but it's hard to say. I mean, these cases go on for years. We've got the Bedouin case, which was filed in January of 2020, and it's still going on. It's set for trial here in May. We've got the Rackley trial, or the Rackley case, which was a triple homicide from last summer in Sioux Falls. The Overton homicide case, which is out of T. So those cases keep the staff exceptionally busy and our attorneys exceptionally busy. When I talked about, actually I think I may have skipped a slide as it relates to our staff. Need to go back here. So we've got 23 employees in the office. That includes attorneys, legal office assistants, paralegals, victim witness assistants, our investigators, and a juvenile diversion coordinator. So 14 support staff. We've got 9 attorneys with 1 opening. 8 are designated to criminal roles and 2 in civil in the civil department. We've had some turnover in the office. As of last year, we had 2 paralegals that went on to law school, which we're very proud of, and we had an attorney leave the office to take the bench, which we're also very proud of. So I think that the turnover is probably consistent with what we're seeing on the county on the whole, but we're I think doing a good job of keeping those positions filled. And again, we've got this 1 opening for the attorney that we're currently recruiting for. So accomplishments from 2024. Additionally, we talked about I mentioned the youth diversion coordinator. This is a new position at the office in late 23, early 24. And that ultimately, that position works with our juvenile prosecutor in assessing which cases can be diverted out to diversion, which keeps them out of the court system. That's incentivized through the juvenile diversion incentive program that the state offers. And we keep those youngsters out of the court system. They complete a diversion program, and when we complete those diversion programs successfully, we're rewarded and get compensation for the state for each one of those. So that's one of the revenue lines that we do bring in. We had a changeover in that position about mid last year. So we had a new juvenile diversion coordinator that took her a little while to get up to speed. It's a unique position. They're housed in the Harrisburg, not the middle school, the freshman academy. They've got some our diversion coordinator offices there. She travels out to the schools to meet oftentimes with those youth that she's handling on diversion, meeting with parents, et cetera. And so we had a 71 successful last year, and I would expect that that would increase in '25. Just again, as she gets into the swing of it and works that position and those diversions. So our annual training is every May, and we attend that. We get as many attorneys as we can get there because we don't really have a lot of CLEs that we are continuing legal education programs that we send our attorneys to. So that primarily serves as our big training opportunity for the office, and it's a couple days. Last year, we covered human trafficking, continued education in family violence and as well sexual assault. Brady Giglio matters, which involve primarily instances where we've got a law enforcement officer that has done something exceptionally wrong. Maybe they've told a lie, maybe they've committed a crime, and then how we handle that in our office by way of giving notice to defense counsel and keeping them on a list, so to speak, so that defense counsel is aware of that problem officer. We also receive training on juvenile and adult diversions. Revenues, the state grants, that relates to that juvenile diversion coordinator position. Again, see some revenue there, and I expect and that in '25 that's going to increase. Fees, which would include tickets, et cetera, court costs and fees, tickets, et cetera, and then bond forfeitures of $111,000, so almost $112,000. Expectations 25, we anticipate that we'll have that continued caseload growth between 3 to 5% between felonies and misdemeanor filings. Increase of appeals, again, that's just an area that we've just seen numbers going up, so anticipate additional habeas filings. And then administrative appeals, as you're well aware, those have increased with the property tax appeals that take place. Drew and Joe handle those on behalf of the county. So looking forward to '26, again, in just that anticipated continued growth that we've seen and that we have seen over the last 20 plus years that I've been in this position, anticipating this move to the Justice Center. Believe that as we stand here today, when we fill this additional attorney position, that will be appropriately staffed, but that's one of those things that we just are continually monitoring for future staffing needs. Of course, that may be a criminal attorney, a paralegal, and or an office assistant position. Probably need to request another vehicle for one of our investigators. Our investigators travel around the county and out of county in pursuit of securing digital evidence and conducting witness interviews or witness interview follow-ups and tracking down witnesses for whether it be grand jury or for jury trial. And then just based upon, again, that digital media, it just continues to grow. That's evidence that oftentimes is fleeting. Sometimes that evidence gets overwritten if our investigators don't go get it quickly. So they're very responsive and are, I think, in probably every department almost weekly. So they're up at the Sioux Falls Police Department collecting that evidence, Highway Patrol up in northern Sioux Falls, T Police Department, Lennox Police Department, and they go around and collect that evidence for us. We've got, the old commission area or the old auditor's space over in the old courthouse with our actual physical files. Those continue to be pared down as we continue to use our software, which we scan those documents in and maintain our cases digitally now, so we don't have the storage needs that we used to have. But with that being said, there are files that we're required to maintain by law, so we may need to clean up some of that space, and we may have our request for digital storage upload in between here and the move to the new facility. Any questions about the presentation?
Anybody have questions for Tom?
Can you tell me what A&N is?
Abuse and neglect proceedings. Yep.
Anybody else?
Good morning, Tom. Can you just speak a little bit to the effect that drugs and alcohol, fentanyl, things like that, what kind of impact you're seeing, what the numbers look like on that?
Significant, and I don't have it broken down, and it's tough to break down, was that storage unit burglarized because it was an addicted offender that broke in there, so I don't necessarily have it down to that level. I can just tell you that, my service club speech, when I was state's attorney in 2002, used to be 70 to 80% of our crime here in Lincoln County is driven by alcohol. As I stand here today, my service club speech would be, 90% of our crime, almost 90% of our crime is driven by methamphetamine and or fentanyl or cocaine. Cocaine's a drug that we're seeing a significant uptick in its use here in our community. But of course, the most dangerous of them all would be the fentanyl and the carfentanil, which is even more potent. And then coming to a crime scene in the near future will be nitazines, which are about 90% more powerful than fentanyl. And that's something that's hit the coasts, it's been across the seas, and it's even more powerful than fentanyl, more powerful than carfentanil, and it is causing significant numbers in overdoses out on the coast right now, so it'll probably be here. So it drives, the majority of what we work on seems to have a drug connection.
Just one follow-up. The meth and the drugs, where are they mostly coming from? Do they come from Mexico, or are they homemade, or can you just speak to that briefly?
Certainly, yeah. Again, just historically, methamphetamine used to be homegrown. You get somebody that was half chemist and half crazy, they'd go tip over an anhydrous ammonia tank and rinse their product with that as they cooked in some abandoned farmhouse or maybe the apartment or maybe in the basement, what have you. In 2011 or 2012, the cartels really moved into that business and figured out the PTP cook method, the polypropylene cook method, which takes out those, I don't understand it all, but it makes that meth purity go from, 60% to a 90% pure product. And the cartels figured that out through their chemists, and they have dominated the market since. And if you ever watched the movie or the series Breaking Bad, that is about 100% based on reality, and that the cartels and the movement of their methamphetamine into the U.S. through the southern border, and how they refine that product, and how that's upped its addictive qualities, but it's coming up through the cartels. There's no question that the stuff that's on the street here in Canton or in Sioux Falls originated in a facility in Mexico. There's just no question that that's now how it gets here. Oftentimes up through Colorado is a big jumping off point for drugs moving into South Dakota. Unfortunately onto our reservations, and then from our reservations into our market here, but also straight up Interstate 29. The investigations that are the bigger methamphetamine investigations or fentanyl investigations oftentimes involve connections that go straight back to the Sinaloa cartel or the CNJ gang, the CNJ cartel. They're not necessarily boots on the ground here. Their associates are, but that's where it's coming from.
Thank you.
Yep.
Madam Chair.
Go ahead.
Does Narcan affect all of those drugs that you just related, even the new ones coming through?
Yeah, Narcan is that, Narcan combats opioid overdoses, and in particular fentanyl overdoses. Whether or not Narcan can effectively, stop a opioid overdose is directly related to the amount of the opioid that individual has ingested. So we talk about fentanyl. Yeah, there are a percentage of fentanyl overdoses that can be saved by Narcan, not all of them. And then when you get into carfentanil, which would be the more powerful version of fentanyl, that number would decrease. I don't know the stats on that, but it's certainly a good thing to have distributed to our sheriff's deputies, our law enforcement as first responders, and as Sheriff Swenson just mentioned, that the life-saving efforts of his team saved a life as a result of, I think, two Narcan doses? So it wasn't just one Narcan, they did two doses of that.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments for Tom?
Madam Chair?
Go ahead.
Tom, I have both a question and a comment. With the staffing that you have, I think the sheriff said we're approaching 75,000, third largest. How many other state's attorneys have a caseload besides yourself?
Similarly situated, probably.
Well, the reason I'm saying
Yeah,
that,
probably.
Tom, I just want the public to know that our state's attorney carries a caseload. Many state's attorneys do not. They don't. They administrate their office, they take care of their staff. But once again, I think this points out the dedication that our staff has and how you have handled not only the responsibility of the state's attorney's office, but carried a significant caseload yourself. So that I commend you for. Secondly, Tom, yesterday at a Rotary Club, we had a presentation on the penetration of fentanyl and drugs. And we heard a report that some drugs have now been located as low as the third grade. Are you seeing a significant amount of drugs getting down into schools or high schools as it maintained itself, or are there any danger areas that you've run across?
Certainly, I think the danger area would be, as it relates to the Delta-9 tetrahydrocannabinol, which would be the highly refined marijuana products that are found in vapes, the vape pens,
Yeah. as
as well as the gummy bears that are commercially available in other states. So that comes from Colorado. So we see, I think, a lot of our youth ingesting that controlled substance, the Delta-9, which is, certainly problematic because I know it's not popular to say, but I'll say it. Marijuana is absolutely a gateway drug to other drugs. I think it lowers inhibitions, and I think that it arises that curiosity maybe in the hippocampus, in the amygdala, and the brain science is such that addictions potentially trigger other addictions. So when somebody wants to feel good and they go to Delta-9, maybe the next high is going to methamphetamine or cocaine. So we're seeing that, and that's problematic as well as it relates to the development of the youth, of the young brain. And I think that chapter is yet to be written as it relates to the legalization of marijuana in other states and how it's affecting their youth. That chapter is not written, and I don't think that the data out there is getting out the way that it needs to be. I think it's I just don't know that it's being studied as it happens, right? And so that's problematic because it's having a significant negative impact on that developing brain. So I don't know that we've seen anything of hard drugs at the grade school level. Probably vaping, probably marijuana. Not aware in our community at this point of hard drugs being used. To your point, as it relates to my caseload, that went up significantly as a result of the judiciary poaching one of our fine attorneys. And my felony team, Amanda Eden and Ryan Weiss, the three of us stepped up to cover that caseload, and then we brought another attorney up, Joseph Madsen, and then that brought him out of magistrate court. So Roland Henry and Erica Reber and our new attorney, they all had to absorb that hit, and it's all hands on deck. And I wouldn't be here without the 23 staff that we have on the team to get the mission done. So very proud of their work.
Thank you, Tom.
Thanks, Tom. Any other questions or comments for Tom? All right,
Okay,
thank you.
thank you.
Is there any public input on the presentation? All right, if not, then we'll move on to our Veteran Service Department presentation. Good morning, David.
Good morning. David Eckley, Lincoln County Veteran Service Officer. How are you doing today?
Good, thanks.
Good. All right. So what we do, and I'm also an accredited Veteran Service Officer, so I have my accreditation with South Dakota Department of Veterans Affairs, American Legion, and the VFW, so I handle claims. And I offer information, assistance, counseling, referrals on a wide range of subjects, benefits, and veterans programs. And I help the veterans, their survivors, dependents, that can be children, spouses, family members. So I help them through all phases of the claims process, and that would include preparing the claim, providing updates, and discussing the decisions and answering questions, and then proceeding, how do we proceed? Is it an appeal, on a denial? What do we do from there? So I help all the veterans and all them with those claims, and then also get out into the community and try to make sure everybody knows what I do, meet individuals, talk about my role and how I can help. And last year, so I was involved in a lot of events. This doesn't cover everything, but some of the things that I do get out there and do, I participate in a lot of events at the Vet Center, and that's in Sioux Falls, south of 57th Street. And I had the opportunity to attend a PTS awareness event, suicide prevention, and their anniversary event, and Vietnam War Veterans Day event. And then I hosted the Vietnam War Veterans event at the Lincoln County 4-H grounds last year, and that was to honor the veterans and their families. We had a pretty good turnout. I think we had around 50 veterans and commissioners and staff from Lincoln County, so it was great to see everybody there. Veterans Day last year, I was in Beersford, and Fallen Hero Bridge dedication is a coordination between the South Dakota Department of Veterans Affairs, DOT, Transportation, Veterans, Military. So they do that, and that was for First Lieutenant Joseph Thorne. And then I've filed over 250 claims for benefits, and that includes benefits for things through the VA, state, and healthcare. And I've been to a meeting of all the Legion posts and VFW posts in the county, just making them familiar with who I am, listen to them, visit, see what needs are and thoughts, handle questions and concerns. And then another great thing, I was the opportunity to reach out to a lot of veterans. At the Military Heritage Alliance last fall, there's a veterans stand down. If you're familiar with that term, that just means it's a time the troops used to come in, and that's when they would have time to get relief. And so we participate in visiting with veterans, hand out needed items, and make sure they know what resources are for help. And what I'm up to here in 25, I continue to outreach with all the communities, initiate conversations with veterans about the benefits, trying to increase the number of claims. So every time I have a contact, it gets word out to more people, and trying to make sure everybody knows who I am and where I'm at. So I am on the main floor of the courthouse. That happened last December, so that's been very beneficial. And I'm working with all the veterans organizations, community partners, and that develops opportunities for community involvement and hosting events to answer questions, educate, show appreciation, and recognize the sacrifices of all of our veterans and their families. And then that also leads into striving to build relationships with veterans and community partners wherever possible. So in 26, I'll be expanding the outreach services. I'm just trying to reach out to more community groups and the public, trying to find opportunities to be present. I'm going to be responsible with the budget while supporting efforts to increase staffing to provide better service for the veterans of Lincoln County and surrounding areas. So as I continue to expand and get the outreach going, that'll generate more claims and contacts And, the primary thing, again, is just engaging with everybody to see what I can do to help. And that's pretty much sums up quickly what I can do, and if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer any questions for you.
Anybody have any questions for David?
Madam Chair?
Yeah, go ahead.
I believe that the bill died to reduce the staffing for your positions across the state in the legislature. Is that correct? That bill died?
As far as the
They didn't
the
take
budget
away the
supplement?
money from the appropriations for your positions?
Right, I believe that died.
Thank you.
think the
I believe
county's
that's
still-
true.
Right.
Thank you.
Correct.
Any other questions for David?
David, you got any more events planned coming up to honor veterans like you did with the Vietnam veterans or anything like that coming up that we should know about?
Not particularly for that one. That is coming up here on the 29th, but I'll be out of the office, so I won't be hosting an event. But coming up in the summer, we generally do coordinate with veterans groups to be at the picnics, and there'll probably be one in Canton here this summer. And I'll definitely keep you up to date on
Okay.
any events we have coming up.
What's going on the 29th you mentioned? What was that?
That's the Vietnam War veterans. I believe this year it's the welcoming home event. So
Okay.
a lot of the activities are on the 28th though, so that's Friday. But the actual recognition day is the 29th.
Okay.
All right, other questions?
Yeah, thank you.
You're
All
welcome.
right.
Thank you.
Any public input on David's presentation? All right, thank you for that. Next, we're gonna move on to Drainage Board. We need to recess and go into that, or?
Yes.
Right? Can I get a motion to recess as the Board of County Commissioners?
So moved.
Got a motion, is there a second? Got a motion and a second. Will you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Aaron's?
Yes.
Otten?
Yes.
Schmidt?
Yes.
Putnam?
Yes.
Landine?
Yes. Now can I get a motion to go into Drainage Board?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second, Otten.
Got a motion and a second. Will you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Aaron's?
Yes.
Otten?
Yes.
Schmidt?
Yes.
Putnam?
Yes.
Landine?
Yes, motion carries. All right, we're in Drainage Board. Is there anyone that wants to come up and address the board regarding any drainage issues that they may have? All right, any discussion, comments by the commission?
Drought certainly does have an effect on drainage boards.
Apparently. All right, then can I get a motion to adjourn as our Drainage Board?
So moved.
Got a motion, is there a second?
Otten, second.
Got a motion and a second. Alicia, will you call the roll?
Commissioner Aaron's?
Yes.
Otten?
Yes.
Schmidt?
Yes.
Putnam?
Yes.
Landine?
Yes. And can I get a motion to reconvene as our Board of County Commissioners?
So moved.
Second.
I've got a motion from Schmidt, second from Aaron's. Alicia, will you call the roll?
Commissioner Aaron's?
Yes.
Otten?
Yes.
Schmidt?
Yes.
Putnam?
Yes.
Landine?
Yes. Okay, then we will move on to our opportunity for public comment for items that are not on our agenda today. Is there anyone from the audience that would like to come up and address the board?
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank
Linda
you.
Montgomery from Fairview, South Dakota. First, I do want to thank you, Madam Chair, for allowing the auditor to clarify that agenda item for me. What I'm talking to you today about is I belong to a lot of different citizens groups. And what comes up many times when we talk about the commission is why do we not have any evening meetings so that citizens who work, who are not able to come during the day can be here. I respectfully request that we do a public hearing if that is the proper way, but citizens need to be able to talk to you about why they would like to see an evening meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment for items not on the agenda? All right, if not, do we have any commissioner reports?
Madam Chair, just a reminder for the commission that the Pennington County will be hosting a Western Interstate Region Conference in Rapid City, which covers a great deal of issues pertaining to the ag sector, public schools, public lands, and everything. So if you wanted to come to a NACO function, you certainly can locally at Pennington County. It's on May 3rd to the 5th, I think it is. So it should be very interesting. So if you are so inclined, you can do that.
All right, any other commissioner reports? I'll just have a brief update. Last Tuesday, I did meet with the folks that are involved with building our new Justice Center and reworking that state's attorney's office section. And we did manage to add 4, I'll call them cubicle spaces for investigators, and then 4 offices and 2 bathrooms to accommodate the state's attorney's office, and that is without invading that west side of the building like we originally thought that we might have to. So that was all good news to be able to do that. And then, I don't know if people are aware of this, but there's a juvenile detention alternative initiative that both Minnehaha and Pennington County are involved with. And Lincoln County was offered a seat at that table, and so we had a meeting last Wednesday. And basically what the initiative does, there's a steering committee, and we look at different alternatives for juveniles as opposed to detention. And they're going to have some folks from around the nation. They'll be in South Dakota conducting interviews of the stakeholders in June. And so just wanted people to be aware of that. And there is a website if anybody's interested in looking at that. It's UJS and then jdai.sd.gov. And that can tell you more about that process. And that's all I have. Anybody else? All right, if not, do we have an executive session? No executive session today. Can I get a motion to adjourn, please? Thank you. I've got a motion. Is there a second?
Second, Otten.
Got a motion from Aaron, second by Otten. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Thank you. We are adjourned.